A blessed, glorious, magnificent, and blissful Sunday morning, beloved woman of faith and my sister in faith. I bring you blessings, love, and peace this morning, and words of encouragement from our Lord and our God. How are you doing this morning? I want to believe you're doing amazing, just as I am doing. My voice is getting better. I'm getting more fortified. I've conquered the cold, and I'm thriving or soaring with springs in my steps and with wings like eagle. And I want to believe you're doing the same. This is a beautiful, a wonderful, a glorious day the Lord has made. Arise and let's rejoice and be glad on this day. I'm just looking at the weather outside, looking at the skies, the beauty, the splendor of our Lord and our God. How great He is, how wonderful He is. We went to bed last night, it was dark, and He's made everything in His own time, in season, so perfectly, so majestically, that it was dark last night, and we woke up. Nothing we did to light, to the brightness of the day, to the glory of a new day, a new dawn, with His mercies in abundance for us on this morning. Look out as far as you can see. I can see everything. I don't even know where the skies start or where they end. I'm looking out as I speak to you right now. I can't see the beginning or the end. It is so wide. So is His mercy and grace for us this morning. It's bountiful. His mercies are new every morning, like a new day, a new dawn, a new morning, new mercies for us. Because He knows we're going to go wrong this day. We're going to do some things that are not in alignment with His thoughts and plans and ways for our lives. But He's a merciful God. Just like the father and the prodigal son, the father stood out there watching in the horizon, waiting for his son who has gone astray, who has sinned against him, to return home. He understood, yes, he had made mistake. Yes, he had sinned against him. But He was not waiting for him to come and apologize, because His love is endless. His love is unconditional. Because He loved His son first, because before His son got to love Him. Even when His son has done wrong, has taken away his inheritance and squandered with prostitutes, He was looking out in the horizons with endless unconditional love, waiting for him to return. So is our God this morning. He's put out bountiful mercies for us on this day. He loved us even before we loved Him, even when we were yet sinners. He knew we'll go astray. He knew we'll not listen to Him. He knew by the very nature of our flesh we are sinful. But His grace is sufficient for you and me, woman of faith. His mercies are new every morning. Tap into His mercies this morning. Let go of yesterday. Yesterday is gone. With all his woes, troubles, tribulations, with all the mistakes we made yesterday, with all our shortcomings, judge or condemn not yourselves and others. Don't condemn people the Lord has already forgiven and given them mercy for this day. You will be judged according to the judgment you show unto others and yourself. Be it done unto you according to your faith. Faith without works is dead. As you step into this morning, embracing His grace, receiving it in His fullness, knowing that my sins have been forgiven, I step into this new day as a brand new creation, united with Christ. And I know that whoever is united with Christ is a new creation. The old has gone and the new has come. Like in Corinthians, we know that we are one with Christ. We are no longer the old us of yesterday. We are no longer the sinful nature we had, because we are joined with Christ. We're a new creation. The old has gone and the new has come. Woman of faith, I'll give you some time to reflect and thank God for the new day. Thank God for the new day. And as you reflect on Him, just be reminded, this is a brand new day. Today, your relationship with Christ is a new one. You are born again. It's a brand new day, a new beginning. As we are told in 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore anyone who is in Christ, anyone joined with Christ, reunited with Christ, is a new creation. Every single day, like this morning, you're a new creation with Christ. Yesterday is gone. Old and new do not coexist. It's one or the other. Step into the new. Being born again, being renewed with Christ. Embrace this new day. Embrace His mercy. And step into this day with springs in your step. Knowing that your brighter days, your best days are ahead of you. Today, the 8th of June 2025, is the best day yet in 2025. If you thought you had some great days in the past, I want you to be expectant on this day. I want you to step onto this day knowing that today is the best day yet. Today is the most glorious day you ever experienced. Woman of faith, I'm going to step into this day, letting go of all worries of the past, knowing that this is going to be my best day yet in 2025. Knowing that my all has gone, I've surrendered. I'm a new creation in Christ Jesus. As we step in to walk with Him, to match our faith with our actions, walking into this new day, stepping into this new day with springs in our steps, soaring with wings and eagle, understanding that those who wait upon the Lord, He will renew their strength. As you are a new creation in Him, He is renewing your strength as well. If you were sick yesterday, you were weak yesterday, get a renewed strength today. You will walk and not faint. You will run and not be weary. You will soar with wings like eagle. Because you're waiting upon the Lord. Let's look at our theme this month. Walking the talk, our faith in motion. Yesterday we've seen in Exodus the power of taking actions. Moses had to do some certain things. He had to take actions. He had to lead the Israelites into the land the Lord has promised them. He had to lead them out of Egypt. The Lord told him to stop crying out. Enough of crying. You've cried to me, you've prayed to me, I've heard you. Don't you trust me? Now it's time to take actions. Now it's time to move. And He told him as well, tell the people to move on. The people had to take action. You cannot stay stuck in Egypt any longer and be crying and praying and fasting. Move on. Imagine He told them and they didn't move. They were afraid your staff was not going to separate the Red Sea. Or even when He separated them, if they thought, they had fear, like when Peter saw Jesus walking on the waters, and he started walking, then later on he doubted, and then he had to sink. If they had fear and thought for one instant, though His staff has separated the Red Sea and we are walking with water on our right and our left, and we are walking on dry ground, what if this water fall back and we are drowned and consumed? Thank God none of them thought this way. They had total faith and they matched it with their actions. They took the actions, they moved on dry ground. All they saw at that moment was dry ground. They had no second thoughts that these walls could collapse. Their faith was whole and it could be matched with their actions of moving forward, taking action and listening to Moses after he stretched forth his staff as the Lord commanded him to do. And the land was dry. Can you imagine? I'm sure some of us will be like, like Thomas, I need to see before believing. You go ahead. Once you've gone through the dry ground, then I will follow. But the Lord's timing is not our timing and His season is not our season. And in fact, after they've gone through in that timing, in that moment that he commanded them to do, he asked Moses to stretch forth his staff again, and the water came back and covered the dry ground. And the Egyptians were consumed, drowned into it. So imagine if you doubted once, or you doubted and did not go through, waiting for them to go through for you to see. And then you will go through later. But then it was already time for Moses to stretch out his rod again for the water to fill back the dry ground. Beloved, remember, like the body without the spirit is dead, so is our faith without actions. When we don't take actions, our faith is dead and of no use. Let's step in today. And yesterday I mentioned briefly about the woman who had just a tiny little olive oil left in her jar. And the prophet Elisha. Sometimes we mix up Elijah and Elisha. Tomorrow I'll look at Elijah. He was the mentor of Elisha. The prophet Elisha asked the woman when she came to him. This woman was a woman of faith. Her husband was a man of faith. Let me go straight to the scriptures that we're going to look at today. We're going to look at 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 2 to 6. 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 2 to 6. Faith in action again. And we look at Elisha and the woman whose man actually believed in God. He was a faithful servant of God and he had died. And her debtors, or the man's, her husband debtors. Do we say creditors? Yeah, creditors. Creditors. Debtors are the ones who owe us. We're coming to her to get back the money the husband owed them. And if she did not give back, they were going to take her children, her 2 sons, and make them slaves to pay back for the money that the husband owed to them. Now the wife of this man of God, the man who trusted God and had faith in God, she too had faith, but she knew that her faith had to be tied by her action. It was not enough for her to just stay there. She would have stayed there and cried out to God, and then she would have taken no action, hoping for God to calm down or to make a miracle or to do a miracle, because of course God is a miracle working God, isn't he? But she understands that God places people sometimes in our midst to meet our demands, to answer our prayers. That's why we are here on this earth. God has made us physical beings. Even though we are spiritual beings, we are having a physical, natural experience on this earth. And God is using our bodies as his temples to work through us, to serve others, to answer other people's prayers. Which is why this Women of Faith group is to bring women of faith to sharpen one another. Iron sharpens iron, so we may work and support one another as the Lord is using you as a vessel. We are all noble vessels for noble and diverse purposes. He is using you for a diverse purpose and using me for a diverse purpose. He might use you to answer my prayer and use me to answer your prayer. He does not necessarily have to come from above. We might not necessarily have to stay there. And if we don't take action and go ask from those he's placed to meet our needs, we will not have those needs met. If we don't take action and go seek the humans, the prophets, the women of faith he's placed on our path to help us in faith, to walk with him, to answer our prayers, to mentor and coach us like Elijah coached Elijah, mentored Elisha, then God's purpose for our life will not be fulfilled because we did not take the practical actions we need to take on this earth. We cannot just have faith and resting and praying and worshiping and fasting. It's not just about a relationship, a vertical relationship with God. He's also placed humans. We are all created in his image, and he desires a relationship with him. And he said anyone who feeds these children, the people he's created, you and me, who relates to them, who give them food when they are hungry, who give them clothes when they are naked, who give them and visit them in the hospital, help them food and visit them in the hospital, they do that to him. So it's not just looking above to the heavens and serving and worshiping God. We need to have that lateral, that vertical relationship, that relationship with one another and serve one another, and we are serving God. He said he will ask some of us, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. Go away from me. And you say you have faith because you spend your time worshiping me. You spend your time focusing on high, on the heavens, above. You spend your time having a vertical relationship with me, crying out, worshiping me and singing. But when that child came and was hungry, you didn't look at them. When that sister of faith came to you and was naked, you didn't feed them. You didn't clothe them. When that sister was sick, you didn't visit them in the hospital. And then we'll say to him, Lord, when did you come to me and I didn't give you food? When were you sick and I didn't visit you? When were you hungry and I didn't feed you? And what did he say? Whatever you do unto any of these ones, these little ones of mine, your brothers and sisters, whatever you do unto this woman of faith, as we fellowship together, so you do unto me. And those who have been serving their fellow women around, like in this Women of Faith group, which is why I call on you, beloved, serve one another. It might not necessarily be in this group, it might be in your community. Serve other women of faith. Put your faith in action. And then we will say to him, Lord, I was not serving you. Like I would be like, Lord, I'm serving my sister here in this tiny community. When did I serve you? When did I visit you in the hospital? When did I give you clothes to wear? When did I feed you? And the Lord will turn and say to you, my sister, whatever you did to your sister, whatever you did to one of these women of faith, these little ones of mine, you did unto me. So you see, God is so interested about us having relationship with him. He answers our prayers not only through angels from heaven. Some of us are living angels. Your neighbor might be an angel, but you've never spoken to them. You've already judged and condemned them, not understanding that because they are joined with Christ, they are a new creation. Like even on the cross, the sinner, the thief who actually accepted Jesus said, remember me when you go to paradise. We married to be crucified. We have sinned, but this man has done nothing. Remember me when you go to paradise. On that last day, he had sinned all his life. Just a few hours before he was crucified, Jesus said, I will remember you. Today you'll be with me in paradise. So you might be condemning that neighbor. Yes, they are not born again. Yes, they sin. You don't know if last night before they went to bed, they cried out to the Lord. And like I said today before I started this session, it's a brand new day. Whoever is joined with Christ is a new creation. God will deal unto us according to our faith. Your neighbor might have just turned unto him this morning. As she rose up, I accept you, Lord. I'm joined with you this morning. Maybe she listened to this word from myself, from another leader, and she gave her life to Christ. And you are there judging and condemning her based on the things she did 2 years ago, yesterday, when today is a brand new day and the Lord's mercies are new. And she has already tapped into these mercies. That's why the Gentiles got to take the place of so many of the Jews who were really children of God, because they had faith, they believed in him, and they took actions. When he asked them to take actions, when he asked them to match, their faith, or to match their actions to the faith they had. But those of us, we already think we are qualified, we are born again, we are children of the kingdom. And so our place is already predestined. But beloved, your neighbor might have given her life to God. Your neighbor might have accepted Jesus this morning, and it's a new creation in Christ Jesus, like we saw in Corinthians, that whoever is joined with Christ is a new creation. The old has gone. In 2 Corinthians 5:17, for those who have to refresh and revive. But the Lord has sent people out there like you. Are you going to talk to your neighbor today? Are you going to show them love? He might use that neighbor of yours that you have condemned to answer your prayers. So Elisha was there, and this woman knew that, yes, my husband was faithful. I need to go to the man of God. I need to go ask. I need to go seek the prophet. I need to go knock those doors to be open, because the Lord has placed people there for me and you. So the woman in verse 2, we see Elisha said to her, after she's gone to Elisha, your servant will honor the Lord and fear the Lord, has died. He's passed away. And those he owed money to are coming after my 2 children. I need you to do something for us. In other words, Elisha in verse 2 said to her, what can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? And she said, your woman servant has nothing in her house except a jar of oil. I want you to pay attention. Gratitude. Some of us undermine what we have. Some of us might have undermined that oil, that jar of oil that we have nothing. You know, we are ungrateful. We are always looking at the half-filled cup rather than the half-empty cup rather than the half-filled cup. This woman looked at the half-filled, what she had in her empty house. So maybe for some of us, the Lord will be asking you, what do you have? You'll be like, oh, I have nothing, Father. I don't have a job. I'm not employed. I'm on benefits. Even my benefits cannot meet my needs because by the time it comes in, I'm in debt. But some of us who are great, pardon me, I had to cough. Some of us who are grateful and focus on the half-filled glass will be like, yes, I do have a benefit from the government, even though I have no job. Will not be looking at, by the time it comes, my bills will be going out. All I have is the benefit. We'll present that to the Lord. Remember again, the Lord asked Moses, what do you have in your hands? It's not always the physical. You've got gifts. You've got talents. Some of you are salesmen. Some of you are traders. Some of you are tailors. While you might have just that material, you might make the next dress that the king will order and pay you millions for. You might sew the next dress with that material that you have, that will be commissioned by the King of England. Your gifts will create room for you among kings and queens. So don't always look at what you don't have. Have a grateful attitude. What have you got in your hands? The Lord has blessed each one of us. Our God is a God of purpose. He's giving you gifts. Pause and reflect. I ask you this question, not looking on the physical things you have. What have you got in your hands? What are the gifts the Lord has given you? Pause and reflect, my sister in faith. Remember, like I said yesterday, what you need to fulfill your purpose is not out there. It's within you. But God will bring the right people to empower you. Empowerment is enabling us to use the power, authority, and influence within us to deal with people, groups, institutions, society, and the world at large. It's using what we already have within us, the power, authority the Lord has already given us to have dominion over all things, over all illnesses, over poverty, over that curse, through our words which are life, through our thoughts which create the world we desire to have and become. So, she said, all I have is a jar of oil. Your servant has nothing in her house except a jar of oil. In verse 3, then Elisha said, go around and get jars from all your neighbors. The woman is going to take action. You're going to do your part. She's not going to say, the Lord will make miracle and fill those empty jars and multiply them. Go and ask, go and seek, go and knock. Go now and meet your neighbors. You see why we have to have that relationship with our neighbors. It doesn't matter what they look like. Have that relationship with your sisters. Treat them well. As long as it depends on us, make peace with everyone, whether they are believers or not. That's why we have to put on the full armor of God every single day before we step out. And one of those armors is the shoe of peace. So we walk in peace wherever we go. He says, go. Get jars, not one, not very few. Go around and get jars from your neighbor. Get empty jars from them. Many of them. Remember, be it done unto you according to your faith. Some of you might just go have 3 because you are used to living in small. You're used to having just one. Remember, your God is a God of abundance. Poverty is not the mindset of Christ. We are called to have one mindset of Christ, the mindset of abundance. He is the King of Kings. Our Lord is the King of Kings. Everything, we are heirs to the kingdom. Everything on this earth belongs to us and in heaven. We have riches stored up in heaven where they will not be destroyed. Thieves will not come and steal. You are a child of the kingdom. Your mindset might be like someone of the kingdom. When you are a child of the kingdom, we have a physical kingdom here in the United Kingdom. Prince Harry, Prince Charles, and all that. Prince who used to be a prince, now he's the king. They did not operate with a poverty mindset. Who is your father? Who is your king? Are you heir to the kingdom? Then your mindset cannot be that of poverty. Some of you will be thinking with a limited mindset. Our God does not have a limited mindset. Remember, as you think, so you become. You will take just 2 jars, saying that after all, I used to have just a jar of oil. 2 is sufficient of me. I just need enough. No, it is selfish when we just want enough for ourselves. We can serve the world when we go for much more. It's like sending you into the ocean of love and you go with a teaspoon. Elisha needs to quantify with many. I guess she took as many as she could. She couldn't take enough because we saw that after the oil kept pouring and pouring. But after she asked for more and the son said the jars were finished. Beloved, be it done to you according to your faith. Match your action with your faith. I will go get camions and put the jars there. Some of you will even be afraid to ask for an empty jar. It's an empty jar, for crying out loud, for goodness sake. Get that neighbor, it's an empty jar. I will bring it back to you filled. We are not arrogant, but we are giving them, we are asking them what we are called to ask. It says ask. When you're asking, you are not shy. You don't play small. Ask for an empty jar. I promise you, I know my God. I know the God I serve. I will bring you back a jar full. Ask for 10 empty jars. Yes, you might have been the poorest in the neighborhood, but tell them my story is changing. And I'll come and share my testimony with you. Get the empty jars, many of them. In 4, it says, then go in, shut the door behind you and your sons. He didn't want anyone to come and change their mind, anyone to come and speak forth, naysayers to come and talk to her and speak her down, or those neighbors to follow her and start telling her, oh, you are actually a dreamer. You have illusions. You're not thinking right. Be realistic. No, he didn't want people who did not believe in the vision or the dream to follow this woman in. He said, shut the door. Shut the door. Close the door behind you and your sons. Pour the oil into all these jars. These are instructions. You must follow them. Not in one, because she will be limited by her faith, thinking, oh my goodness, I just had 1 jar of oil. I've poured in 2 and I guess it will be over. When you stop, the oil is going to stop flowing. So pour the oil into all these jars and set aside each one that is full. Pour until it's full. 5. So she went from him and shut the door behind her and her sons. She took actions exactly as Elisha had asked her to do. She matched her faith with her actions. Moses did exactly what God asked him to do. This woman is doing exactly word for word. Practical actions. They took the jars to her. Then she poured. In 6, when the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another jar. And they said to her, there is not 1 jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. Then the oil stopped flowing. Some of us have stopped the blessings of God in our lives because we stopped taking action. The Lord wants to do more. He's looking for vessels. The harvest is plenty. The laborers and the workers are few. The fruits are bountiful, but the vessel is few. The vessels to carry the harvest, to harvest the fruits. We are so focused on what we have left. We are so focused on our means. Like I said, some of us, the Lord has called us out of that job to follow your heart's desires, to fulfill your purpose, to use your gifts to serve the world. But we are looking at the gauge, the foil, the money, the finances, our bank accounts. My job brings me, in quote, assurance. Nothing on this physical way can give you security. Security only comes from God. And hence we don't take action. We don't leave and get those empty jars using our gifts and talents. Using our gifts and talents to serve. With her gift and talents, this woman had enough for her sons and daughters, and even to serve many. Are you ready to open up your vessel and let the Lord pour? Fill me. Let your rain fall on me. With the latter rain, Lord. The Lord has in abundance. Our God is the God of abundance. Are you so focused on that bank account? Yesterday I said I was going to share a prophecy with you. I'm going to be brief. I need to get ready to go to church. Some of you might not know. I had a great, magnificent, well-paid job, a prestigious job at the Royal Hospital with prospect of promotions. My goal was to become my ambition, not my vision. Ambition is our desire for success. Of course, I was still going to serve the world, finding, better therapeutic options, diagnostic tools, finding or discovering drugs that will cure leukemia, and becoming a professor, teaching and helping and guiding others, mentoring them to work in that field. But God had a greater calling and purpose upon my life. He asked me to leave that field. My medical career and knowledge is still very relevant today. When the Lord prepares us, anywhere He took you to, that career will still be relevant. Don't think you will lose that knowledge. Knowledge can never be lost. When we gain knowledge, we have it within us. We can never lose it. When the Lord called me out, it would have been so easy to stay in that comfortable, well-paid job with assurance. I didn't have to think of where the salary was coming from. I didn't even have to open my bank accounts. Honestly, for years, I wouldn't open my bank account statement when it came in. I knew I didn't lack. I knew there would be money in my account. I had to make the decision. That's when I asked the Lord, and I asked for confirmation, like I was sharing with you yesterday, not twice, but 3 times. And the Lord said, be strong and courageous, Joshua 1:9. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I go before you. As I was with Moses, I'll be with you. I go before you to guide you, to lead these people to the land I'm promising them. He called me to lead women. He called me to serve women, to take them out of their, low self-esteem, limiting beliefs because of the confidence I had in myself and in God. Maybe I didn't understand my confidence was so grounded in God, but I think I knew, because I was so unshakable in my confidence, because I knew whose I was and where I was operating from. I answered this call, beloved. I left all the benefits, financial world, started serving only with a vision. But the Lord said 2 things. My people perish for lack of knowledge, and without vision, my people perish. So I could never perish. I trusted Him. Left, and I've never lacked. Yes, my lifestyle kind of reduced. We could not go for some of those enormous vacations as we used to go. They reduced. Maybe I would have had some greater mansions and all of that. It had to take longer time. I had to make some sacrifices, but I still live a greater life. I mean, a wonderful life, even than the one I lived. Maybe the one I lived then when I was working and had those salary was more in a financial and material level. But the one I live now is more on a spiritual, personal level of deep inner fulfillment and satisfaction. And honestly, I would always serve. I would always give. I'm not a good businesswoman, and I'm a charitable woman. Even when I left, I'd saved enough money that would go on for 1 year, even if I didn't work. I would have exactly the same salary I was paid in the hospital. And thank God I had my husband there who was also supportive. So I had no fear. My siblings, my family were all like, are you sure, Sylvia, you studied so hard to leave this behind? The Lord knew my strengths. He said, what do you have in your hands? He's giving me that knowledge. He's giving me a vision. I knew that I had to go out and build this part and set this vision, make it so clear, write it down so He will see it, will run with it. If I don't step out, this vision will die a seed. But my medical background was there. There'll be people working in the hospital. Medical research will continue. Treatments and all of that will continue with or without me. I step out in faith. And beloved, when I stepped out, I saw people who were less privileged than myself. I saw a different type of migrants I'd never seen and experienced before, because my life was from nursery school to a PhD to a well-paid job. When I was studying, as I said yesterday, I had scholarship. I lacked nothing. I could even help my family. I was not working, but for my scholarship, I had more than enough as a student. in university, doing my PhD. There was a time when I went to Australia for 1 year. I had 2 salaries. I was being paid by the Italian government. I had an Italian Europe scholarship. I was being paid by an Australian Europe scholarship. I was being paid by the Australian government. So I lived on my salary or my scholarship in Australia, and I saved the entire scholarship for a year in Italy. So when I left, I was giving out money. I was just giving people who were less privileged than myself. And I saw that my money was just going and going. Sometimes I would get funds for the company I started, the social enterprise. Everything will go back to it. I will pay myself and I will invest it all back to the business, to serve women. I will get money. It will go back all into it. It's been my life. Sometimes make investment loss. And then I'll bring all the investment. We had properties. I will take our very own properties. We will send tenants away. I'll tell my husband, please, Voice of Nations needs a building. My company will come into our property where tenants were paying. And guess what? At points where my company had no money to pay, what happens? We've got to meet the bills. We have mortgage we have to pay for those properties. I had a beautiful, beautiful testimony once. Lately, we had a retreat in Wales. One of my sisters was there with me, Anipe, and she could testify of this. The man of God prophesied to me. He said, you're driving a camion. There are so many fruits behind. It's full of fruits, diverse fruits, grapes, all sorts of fruits. These fruits are the different lives you're touching, and you know each of these fruits. Your camion is full. And the gauge is almost running empty. The fuel gauge is almost running empty. But the Lord says, focus. Just keep driving and going ahead. In other words, keep taking action. Keep serving. The fruits will be filled. I will fill your camion with fruits. Don't look behind. Don't be so caught up by the fruits, by the many lives you are touching and impacting. And don't focus on the gauge. Though it seems empty, it will never run out. The fuel will never run out. I smiled and laughed. My God is faithful. It was a point of finances that we've had immense loss. Everything I've earned, I've given it back to my company. In fact, some of the funders who fund us for, I think, 2 years, a year, they saw that because you could see the bank statement of the company. I would literally pay money from my personal account into the company to pay myself for months. And guess what? So they thought I'm doing so much. Can you believe that? I had a year guaranteed for the very first time. Salary. That it doesn't matter whether we had funds or not. But they saw that because I paid money into the company, I paid the rent for the company. We have diverse premises. And they said, what if she stops paying for the company? And she doesn't really need this job anyway. There were some cuts in the funding. And they said, those who really need these funds, who have only one job, we've got to prioritize them. Dr. Sylvia has so many other avenues where she has money from. She doesn't really rely on this company. Can you imagine that? And they made a drastic cut on ours. I'm saying this and laughing. But you know what? I am rich. Just like that woman with a jar of oil, I've never looked at my finances. One thing I've said, and I've always said this and I will say it. When I left the world, the physical material stuff, I'm not attached to money. I've said one thing, finances has never been my problem from childhood, and it will never be. I've prophesied again and again. I don't focus on money. And I think that's why the Lord said, don't focus on that fuel gauge. I will never, never be poor. I am not poor. I am wealthy. I'm rich. Some people know Dr. Sylvia is super wealthy. I am wealthy. I'm super wealthy. I'm so blessed. But it's the action. I didn't say I have no more salary. I laugh. And in fact, I had a meeting with these funders, the people we are working with. I was smiling. He said, I know you are frustrated, you're angry. I said, no. And I told him, thank you for being honest with me. And I was laughing. I said, I know you think I have enough, but I can't share some certain things with them. I couldn't share that. I pay the bills for this company. Sometimes you don't even know I have to use my credit card. I don't complain. This is nothing. Finances are not my problems. Some people don't even have credit card. I'm blessed I can have the credit card to use and then refinance it. Beloved, be it done unto you according to your faith. So I got to keep driving that camion and not looking at the fuel gauge. My fuel can never run out like that woman. Be it done unto you according to your faith. When the woman has filled all, the oil stopped because I'm not stopping this movement. I will keep doing one thing to the other that the Lord calls me. This is the women of faith that has added daily messages to you. I will keep that camion going and I will get more fruits. More people are joining. We now are on YouTube. People I don't know will listen to these messages and will be blessed. And those are the fruits. And I will get to know them. Some women I work with, when I talk to them after years, I tell them the stories they've told me. They said, Dr. Sylvia, I'm so surprised you still remember my story. I don't forget. This prophet said to me, each one of these fruits are the lives you touch and you know them by name. You are precious to me. You are not just numbers. You are unique women. I tell you, I forget some trivial things. If you heard me 3 days ago, I will forget the details. But I don't forget things of the Lord. I don't forget about my calling. The women I work with, the lowest of lowest, they touch me in one way or the other. I'm working with them. Sometimes I'm praying. I come back home, I'm praying and lifting them up to my God. Woman of faith, are you going to take action? Or are you going to be looking at, I'm just on benefit? Walk. I'll keep that camion going as I get more people, more fruits. The harvest is plenty. There's so many fruits out there. Are you going to come with that empty camion, trusting the Lord that you may not have fuel to take you to the next destination? But the Lord is the one who fuels your journey. He's the one who fuels the vision. He's the one who makes provision for the vision. It's not my work, it's His work. When I succeed, it's not my success. All glory goes to my Father. You see my good deeds, you benefit from my good deeds. The glory goes to my Father. I've shared my testimony with you. I hope that you step in and walk. Everyone I know, they know I'm wealthy. I am wealthy. I've never lacked. I will never lack. And I don't operate with any mediocre mindset. My mindset is that of abundance. And I decree to you, my vision is to become a multi-billionaire. Yes, I want to build schools. I want to build hospitals. To bring more fruits, to serve those children. My vision is that. I'm not playing small. My God is the God of abundance. If we have people who don't believe in Him, they are billionaires. What more of me? What more of you? And I operate with that mindset. I go for contracts that lead me to billion mindset destination. Not just a jar of oil. You've been asked to go get jars. How many will you get? Be it done unto you according to your faith. Take actions today, woman of faith. You've been listening to your beloved sister in faith, Dr. Sylvia Forchap Likambi. Be blessed, encouraged, and inspired. God bless you. Thank you.